Professional triathletes take hydration really seriously at the top end for peak performance. Here are 5 secrets they make use of. But before we get into that, the last 8 years, I've been sweat testing on behalf of Precision Hydration, meeting the likes of heavyweight boxers, all the way through to ultra runners, world champion triathletes, and amateurs alike. So the truth is, although we all sweat, do we actually need to replace with high doses of electrolytes? Listen up before I get into that. If you need any help with your triathlon journey, just hit the link in the description and we can have a chat. Secret number 1, prehydration strategy. Athletes don't wait until they're really thirsty to start hydrating. Prehydration actually starts hours before the competition. To be honest, it starts 24 hours. The night before, we all take a preload, highly concentrated, high osmolarity sodium drink. Reason why: it boosts the blood plasma volume, increases your overall hydration state, and actually decreases the risk of getting low blood sodium. In the hours leading into the race in the morning, another preload is necessary to bring up the losses from overnight. That gets you to the start line in an adequately hydrated state. There's an independent British Journal of Medicine article or review on why adequate sodium levels are important to start hydrated. That's point number 1. Secret number 2, pros often use a customized hydration strategy now that's readily available to most of us. So they replace exactly what they lose through their sweat. Their sodium composition is measured, along with some magnesium, some potassium, and some calcium, which are lost as trace elements in their sweat. For example, most of us, average athlete loses around 950 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium in their sweat. Of course, sweat rate needs to be determined based on the sun, the conditions, and how hard you're working. So a Olympic distance race versus an Ironman will produce completely different sweat rates, and Hawaii versus doing the Norseman in Norway is going to completely have a different sweat rate. However, the composition stays fairly similar, barring a few milligrams as you get older. So that is a key element to understand for yourself, is to understand your sweat composition, exactly how they are dialing in. And you can have a look at the top 10 in the most recent Hawaii Ironman in Kona. And a lot of them are making use of precision hydration and supported by their sports science team to adequately produce a strategy for each specific race. Point 3, hydration timing and small sips. Most pro triathletes don't take large gulps of water. You've got to understand gastric emptying based on the size and volume of your stomach contents. So larger people versus smaller people. So small sips every 15 to 20 minutes. I encourage that alongside fuel is a great strategy to start with. You limit the electrolyte losses, but also negate the fact that you might actually become quite waterlogged from holding on too much water in your gastric system, and you run the risk of reduction of gastric emptying, which can lead to that bloating, slushiness feeling that eventually you feel on the marathon. So understanding how much, through trial and error, I'm afraid, strength of electrolytes versus how much fluid, plus or minus 250 mils either way, based on the time of the day, the conditions, and how hard you are going, and actually the RPE, the rate that you feel you're sweating. Midday versus 7 a.m., you'll sweat different amounts. So that's really crucial, your timing within an hour over a Ironman bike leg. Tip number 4, hydration testing and monitoring. A lot of pro athletes make use of our sweat testing analysis to determine the exact sodium losses in their sweat composition. They also monitor urine color, not during a race, of course, but within training. Certainly after the big days, it can be done with a specific gravity machine, which is quite expensive, to give you an exact solute loss in your urine, or just simply some urine strips from a chemist, which are about £10, $15, to see if you are comfortably bringing yourself back up overnight. So they monitor this so they can hit the next day. This helps with monitoring dehydration during training, and most importantly, you can carry that over into a race, which ultimately is the icing on the cake, but you spend 95% of your time training, guys and girls, so you've got to nail this in training. I see with my athletes that I coach, the new guys that haven't been with me for a long time, they always ask, oh, so what should I use on the race day? Should I try anything different? the process actually starts 8-12 weeks earlier, where you build in, make some mistakes, lose some bottles. You know what I mean? You've got to trial and error, because I can't tell you exactly, no one can actually, but you get to fine tune from this broad base to narrow it down to a really tight regulated fueling with your hydration and your fluid requirements. It's also known as the 3 levers, which I'll hit a link here in the video of what that 3 levers looks like. A really good article and video by Precision Hydration. Okay, tip number 5, the last one you've waited for. Not necessarily the most important, but post-session recovery. Have you ever done a long run, or maybe a long bike ride, and that afternoon on the weekend, you just get that dip where you get a headache and really foggy, and you really want to just lie down? You think it's pretty much tiredness, or you didn't eat enough carbs, probably. But actually, 9 out of 10 times it's hydration, especially in this hot weather we are starting to have in the Northern Hemisphere. So although they fuel and hydrate during the session, immediately after your race or your session, the hydration actually starts. So there's no point just having a smoothie, for example. That's actually what's called a hypertonic, so really thick, takes a lot for the gut to break down. We after a hypotonic drink, for example, the pH 1000, pH 1500, that's a hypertonic drink, weaker than your bloodstream. And the idea is to bring up the blood plasma volume slowly. You'll probably need another one late in the day. Then you start hitting a recovery drink with protein, carbs, when your body's craving that carbohydrate, or your cells are wide open. That starts the repair and the regenerative process, and that goes without in training is key, because without adaptation, there's no point in training. So you can also train and recover like professional athletes. They just do it at a different level, and they do it full time. But you can take snippets of advice and snippets of what they do really well, the habits that allow them to just turn up. There's no hero sessions, turn up every day and build that 7-day, 14-day, 3 months, 6 months, and barring your body and your mental capacity and your ability to just endure the day in, day out grind, follow those 5 steps, 5 tips, 5 secrets around hydration, and you'll be, I promise you, in a better state in your next event. Okay, so there you have it. Thanks for listening this far. I'll just summarize a little bit. I get all sorts of athletes in my consults: the crampers, the nauseas, the bloatedness, the dizzy athletes, general people that want to perform a little bit better. They don't realize they're actually having issues before I start bringing them up. The waterlogged ones, the sloshy tummies. Ultimately, context is key. Here's a few little easy tips that you can implement straight away that don't cost anything. Be your own lab. Measure your sweat rate losses. You need a scale for it. Do a few sessions. Find out if you're a heavy sweater, low or medium sweater in different environments. Do you have white marks in your kit? Is your sweat salty? If you don't know the answer and you don't think so, then probably it isn't. Remember, more isn't better. And don't wait until you're hungry in a session or a race to start eating. Key is to drip feed fuel, carbohydrates, more than likely, alongside sodium, because remember, they work together. So sugar and salt are great accompaniments through delivery into the bloodstream. So there's a reason why that's very important in a hypotonic drink. For more information, feel free to just comment, and I'll send you some more information around real life case scenarios of people that I've actually helped and gone on to win Hawaii Ironman, for example. I look forward to chatting to you soon.